Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Agnelina and today I'm here with my 7 knitting podcast episode. I'm Lithuanian, currently living in Norway, in Trondheim. I live together with my fiancé and we have 2 lovely chinchillas. And I love to knit. But let's start quickly with what I'm wearing. I'm wearing store-bought top, but I recently sewed this skirt, so it's like first finished object, which I usually don't talk that much about my sewing here. But since I'm wearing it and it's made me, let's shortly talk about it. So it is from, fabric is from IKEA, so it is 100% cotton, but it is sturdy fabric. It's, I think, supposed to sew the pillowcases or whatsoever. So it's really sturdy. I improvised it. I watched before 1 year ago how you know, some people were doing these circle skirts, and now I just decided to do it, and I decided to skip the tutorial. And I needed to redo it maybe 3 times. First time I put pockets too low. It has pockets. It's really nice, and I think I managed to sew them in quite nicely. This is the seam and this is the zipper. But at first I tried to add elastic, but this fabric was really heavy and I put elastic exactly my waist measurement. So I think it was just too loose becoming. It was just falling down. Pockets were not in the right places there around the knee. So yeah, then I decided that I need to almost frog, I wanted to say, and seam everything and sew it again to the zipper. But then I had really short zipper and I thought, oh, circle skirt, so it grows quickly, you know, in the circle measurements. But apparently 10 centimeter zipper was too short. I had to again frog and seam everything, and then I had to add the zipper, a longer zipper, but at that time I decided not to change sleeves position, because at first I was just exactly 10 centimeters for the zipper and then immediately the pockets could go even higher, I think. But now I inserted this cleverly, I'm sorry, showing my underwear, but I have pocket and the zipper in the seam. So yeah, it took way more time than I expected, because I know that knitting takes time, but for knitting, you're watching something you can pick up or put down almost at any moment. So I feel like that it is really convenient, and with sewing you have to, I don't know, free up the floor space to cut the fabric pieces, and while you're sewing with the sewing machine it makes a lot of noise, but while you, I know, ironing or pinning together 2 pieces, you can watch something, but then you need to pause and then you cannot concentrate that much. So I feel like knitting in a way, even if it takes longer, but it is like I know, easier to do it on the go, and it requires less effort to start knit in the evening than to start to something. And it took way longer because I needed to redo. But yeah, the plan is try to maybe sew a matching top, because I think I have enough fabric left. Move on to the knitting. This was, I think, my first finished object. This is my improvisation through taking idea from Petite Knit's Sophie scarf. So I increased as much as I wanted, garter stitch, I-cord edge, knitted immediately. Then I follow it you know, the same size for some time until I was ready to decrease it again. And I really enjoy this scarf. This was my leftover yarn project. I also knitted headband and fingerless knits with it to go together. So I felt like this is really like small scarf, but it is this is from Woolevo baby Merino wool, 75% I think is Merino wool, 25% polyester or something like that, knitted with 3mm needles. So I feel like this is warm, it is nice to the touch. I feel like it is really easy then to put, I don't know, the coat, the jacket, because you know it keeps your neck warm, or you can, you know, just if it is too hot for you, you can just, you know, put it like this, more like an accessory actually, not a warming up thing. So yeah, I'm liking this project, but I'm thinking maybe to gift the whole set. So I washed it and didn't wear it anymore. I'm thinking maybe I should give it to my friend, because I I get tired a little bit of this color. I don't feel that excited about it. As I said, I knitted from this yarn a top, and then it was a kit knit. I bought as much yarn as was specified I need, but it was two and a half balls left, or a little bit more than 2.5, so I managed to, as I said, the small scarf, headband, fingerless mitts, even maybe a bonnet, and I still have maybe 14 grams left. And this yarn I probably won't buy in the future. There's few things I don't like it. First of all, what I saw just when I bought it on the ball, it was written that it is made in China, and I feel like my top doesn't wear nicely. I feel like it started peeling, you know, becoming bubbly, so I don't think that it is long lasting, and as most knits goes with 3mm needles for this yarn, yeah, I don't think but of course it was cheap, this is why I bought it. But I think in the future this motivates me to try to buy better quality yarns, because I should believe that I can afford myself to knit, spend time with better quality yarns, to have better quality pieces, because the top fits me perfectly and it is really good. But as I said, and yeah, I got a little bit tired of this color. I think that this brown is beautiful, probably I will knit with it in the future again, but I'm excited to gift it to my friends too. And I have a really beautiful blue yarn I want to have winter accessories with, so we will see in the future. Next thing was gift knit to my fiancé. It is the first sweater I knitted for him. I know about boyfriend scores, boyfriend sweater scores, but yeah, in a way I don't believe, and if something would appear that we need to split up, it is better now than after the wedding, and I don't regret, at least at this point, how I feel and how we feel together. You know, to knit him a sweater, even if something that wouldn't turn out the best. So I don't believe, and either way I think everything goes to the better, or at least I believed it. So I knitted, this is the free pattern from Drops Design Aberdeen sweater. Originally it is should be knitted with Drops Air. But I heard about Drops Air that it bubbles a lot, builds a lot, so I decided that, you know, for my boyfriend it should be less, that the sweater should require less care. You know, the guys, they don't like maybe to wash that much or to care that much about clothing, and you know, so more sturdy yarn would be nice. So I decided to knit it with subsidize it with Drops Big Merino wool. It is soft, so he doesn't like any itches, so it is really nice gift knit. It is quite chunky yarn, so you know, the sweater didn't take that much time, and as you can see I quite enjoy even simple stock knit knitting. It is not annoying to me. I always excite about, you know, finished garments, you know, how much we'll wear it. I don't say that I don't like more intricate patterns, and I really want to do them more in the future, but in a way I don't feel I know, bad or bored by just stock knit knitting. But I remember that I shortened the sleeves a little bit, because in the picture they looked a little bit maybe too big, and they have a long sleeves, and I just measured, and this is super wash yarn, which and swatches grew, so I knew that this will grew, and that was really difficult to knit in and try it on, and it is bottom up, so again it wasn't the easiest to try it on. So after washing it, the sleeves grew a lot, and my boyfriend was even disliking it, and it was always rolling the sleeves up. But then I think since when you roll the sleeves up, they becoming, you know, wider in a way, and they shorten a little bit up. So now it is perfect for him. I think it is a really good length. I was quite, but I decided that if something is really unmatchy, I probably will try to serge it, you know, just cut a small piece of it or extend it. But yes, I'm really glad that I didn't need to do it, yeah, because I never done the sweater surgery, and I'm a little bit afraid of it. But in the same way, if the sweater will be loved and wear more, then I'm ready to do it. But I was lucky with the length, and then I started knitting this part with instructions, but then I changed because it was saying that in the middle it should be free, and I found that it was a really nice middle in between sleeve and body, so I just done in the middle just 2 stitches, and then I switched decrease rate in the neckline because I felt like it was going too wide, and then I think they have like raglan shaping, and then they add maybe short rows, and I was just, why overcomplicate? So I changed, and those instructions were so complicated written around this neck formation. So I know how to do how to do a raglan. I knitted up till here, I think, the first time, and I saw that I almost finished joining the neckline. I have this front raglan pattern, so I decided but the sweater, when my boyfriend tried it out, and it was almost falling through the sleeves, falling through shoulders the first time he tried it on, so I just frogged it before sleeve separation, not sleeve separation, but in between where I started decreasing here, and I reknitted all this raglan pattern. And then he tried it on, and it felt like it was reaching a nice back point. Yeah, and then I pick up stitches again without checking how many stitches I should pick up. So I think for the back maybe I should pick up not each stitch. But I still think looks good. He really likes it, and he was wearing, when I just finished knitting, he was wearing almost every single day it. And wearing even in the house. I'm the person, I was trained to wear the worst clothing in house, just wear it off, all this old clothing, etc. And he's more trained to wear his nice clothes almost immediately, so to not go to the university, but even at home. And this yarn, I feel like it's not pilling that much, so I am quite happy about the yarn composition, and I'm thinking maybe I will knit him again from this yarn too, even if it is growing, superwash growing. I didn't try to wash it in the washing machine, and I may wash it by hands, just to be better received than sorry, and it is not that much work, because wool, you don't need to wash that often, and then you spend so much time knitting it, so I can wash clothes by hand. So yeah, I think in the future I will do it. So yeah, moving on to my work in progress, it is designing for myself Oriana tea. I picked Oriana as, yeah, I was looking for a name quite, I don't know, intensely. I was googling, the meanings, the names, the words in different languages, what that would mean. And I was maybe thinking about, like, I don't know, this is like sunrise colors, the beginning, I don't know, because this is one of the first things I'm designing. For now it is for myself, but maybe I will be able to grade it and create a pattern. And I'm filming it in the process, so I will talk about it more in that video. But yeah, I'm working on this tea for myself, and I name it Oriana, and I think in Italy it means, does it mean sunrise? I forgot what it means. But yeah, it is like, the beginning, and I said this color. And I designed this top for this yarn because I bought last year 4 balls of this yarn, and from 2 balls I crocheted a top. And I always knew that from the second part, another 2 balls I want to knit a top, but this yarn is a little bit, I'm not the biggest pink color fan, and when I was in the shop it was a little bit more peachy because they had yellow lighting, but I still see this peachiness, and I like the peachiness, but the pinkish sometimes gets me tired of it because it's quite bright color, but it will be really nice for, I know, spring summer seasons. So yeah, I wanted since the color and the cotton, this is YarnArt Summer yarn. It is 70% mercerized cotton, which means the cotton which is not growing that much, and 30% viscose, and viscose part is really shiny. So as I said, this color and this yarn feels a lot, so I wanted to improvise it, that simple t-shirt construction. But I don't like cutting the yarn, and most of the patterns I see online, I think you do those I don't know, the shapes, and you join, but you have a lot of yarn, you cut it yarn. So I wanted to knit it as a raglan, but in this t-shirt form, so I improvised my way there. Yes, and make it simple, but in the same way I wanted to try it on the like folded picot edge, because I thought that is really nice. Then I added a little bit lace motif before. And I'm not too sure if it is not too much, but in the same way it's playful, it's summery, so I'm quite enjoying it. And I made I-cord neckline. Yes, it is maybe a little bit too cornery here, but because I wanted a little bit more rounded, but I think I reached the deep I was planning to knit, and then I understood that nope, that's it, I need to cast it on. And I didn't want to go all the way back here when I started decreasing. So if I would write a pattern, of course, I would recalculate to make a neckline a little bit nicer. But now I am, and yes, since I'm designing it, I decided to try to also write a pattern which would be flexible to follow the body shape. And since I'm quite curvy, and I don't like baggy clothes, sometimes it's not the easiest to knit or find the patterns for myself, and now I feel like it's a lot of patterns, you know, quite baggy, quite loose, and it is nice, but something I am not prefer for myself. So I don't want really squished in clothing too. So I try to make it like 1 inch positive ease, so the t-shirt top would follow my body, but not, you know, over, I know, exaggerated, not be too snug in any other place, to have enough space in everywhere, but not too much, not being too baggy. So that is the idea, and that makes that it is really difficult. It would be really difficult to write a pattern for it, so I'm not sure if I will be able to ever to do it, but I think it's going quite well, quite nicely. And yes, this is already my second ball, and I think I will have enough, because I started second ball few, I don't know, right here, so around here. So I think that for the first ball I got all the yoke, and from the second ball I started adding I-cord edge, these picot sleeves finished up, and then join, and I can knit while this ball lasts. So hopefully it won't be too short, and I will have a top, really nice summary. Oh, and it was so funny with this top, because after, when I was finishing this sweater, my boyfriend sweater, I was into, it was after Easter time, and it was really nice spring weather in Norway, and it was so early, nobody saw such beautiful spring in many years here, I think, because maybe for 3 weeks we have what I call springish weather. So I think in the night times it was falling around the 0, around the freezing point, but in the daytime it was reaching up maybe 13-14 degrees of Celsius. I will try to convert it to Fahrenheit and add it on the screen. And it was sunny, so it felt really springish and nice. And then after those 2-3 weeks, when I started knitting this one, I think I was casting it on when the weather got bad again. And by bad I mean we saw snow again. But it is not that it lasts, it just falls down, it's just snowing, and it just melts almost immediately, but it's still snow. I don't want to see snow in May. I'm sorry, I don't want to do that. Yeah. oh, snow can be in the mountains, snow can be in the glaciers, but maybe not in my garden. I don't have a garden that, you know, outside my house in my city. So yeah, and when the weather came back down again in the nighttime, it was around 0, but in the daytime just maybe 6 degrees of Celsius, and it was rainy, and it was snowy, and it was cold and windy. I started wanting to casting on a hat, I don't know, an hour sweater. I remember that I wanted it for the summer, a cardigan. So yeah, then I was knitting this top. It was some point I was, why I started knitting summer garments so early. But yeah, and now the weather I think is getting nice again. So I'm quite hopeful. But yeah, I didn't cast it anything on because I'm quite monogamous knitter, and I like to focus on this top actually, even if this is stock knit stitch, but I still, almost each line I have to think about the construction, so it's not that mindless as it was with my boyfriend's sweater, because boys don't have boobs, and apparently they can just knit straight and it is nicely fitted for him. And moving forward, I want to, I don't know, present you the box. This is the box where I try to keep all my yarn. As you can see, it's quite full. And I have these sitter, I think, wood thingies which should prevent moths, and I open quite often because it's down the box of yarn I own. But yeah, the idea is try to fill, not to fill the box, but try to keep my stash the size of this box, so if it is full I shouldn't buy more yarn. And then I have another box, which is my project box. I don't have project bag. I'm thinking in the future maybe to sew or knit or crochet or something else, or buy from IKEA. But I felt like it was uncomfortable because this box is in the cupboard with the doors, and it is a little bit in the corner, so it's not that easy to reach. So for example, when I was knitting my boyfriend's sweater, I put all the sweater quantity yarn into this box. As you can see, I have some leftovers, and so now I put it to this bag with the plan to put into that box. Then, you know, so I had the yarn, then again I went to this box and took out this bag, in which I put another thing that I need to knit this summer. So you know, the yarn ideas, what I should knit. So last summer, or spring, I don't remember now, I bought this Sinus yarn mandarin petite yarn. It is cotton yarn, and I crochet a hat, but this hat is a little bit too floppy, so I'm thinking to frog it and to try to knit maybe a top. I think it will be a really lovely top. I may not have enough yarn, so I may need to, it could be that it was in the sun already, so it could be that it even changed the color. So in a way, I probably will need to buy more yarn, because I'm not sure if frogging this hat will make enough for even a tank top. At least it should cover the boobs. But yeah, I'm thinking of doing this for the summer, so I put it took it from this box and put it into my project box, where I keep it, like, you know, maybe next project yarn or current project yarn. I guess I keep my project closer to me and I'm not into this box all the time, but yeah, this is the thing I'm keeping. Then, I'm sorry. Then the next thing into this box is, yeah, a little bit more leftover yarn. It is around 14 grams, I think, in total, been a little bit different sometimes pieces. This is the biggest piece. And I was thinking to knit a baby sock, but I felt like maybe baby could fit a leg into it, but I felt like this is not stretchy enough for the baby size, and I tried at first knitting, I think on each needle is 8 stitches. It was a little bit better sizing, but that was a little bit maybe too, but it was using a little bit too much yarn. I felt like it won't be enough for the second sock. Now I started with the smaller size, I think 6 on each needle, and it is maybe just right size, but then again I didn't sew a baby in a long time, and I'm not pregnant, nobody's pregnant, so I don't know. So the next thought is maybe I will frog this sock, and I may try to maybe crochet a little teddy bear. And moving forward to my acquisitions. So first I bought this really lovely, I think sewing scissors to cut the thread. So I thought that is really beautiful stork scissors, and I really wanted it for my yarn. And I had one scissors for hobby, and I was using it when I was painting too. So sometimes I would have this problem that when I try to paint and cut the washi tape, I don't have scissors, so I have to go and find where is my knitting bag in which I have those scissors, and then if I put scissors next to my painting stuff, then when I need to cut yarn, I have to again move into my house to find where the scissors are. So apparently, and when I saw these scissors, I really wanted them, and so I decided that I can allow myself to have another pair of scissors, which are so elegant and so beautiful, and I'm happy that I spent way too much money on it, because they are overpriced, but they are all everywhere overpriced. But yeah, so I made an order. One of the things I wanted to buy was more needles and cables. So finally cables, I was using, I was creating my own interchangeable needle like set. So when I was buying the first time, all needle cables were out of stock except the shortest one. So I always planned to buy longer ones. But shortest one, you know, I bought also cable connector, which is really helpful too. But it's not comfortable to knit with cable connector. I use it just for trying it on. So yeah, I decided that I can buy a few more cables. So I bought, you know, the one who makes the 1 meter and 80 centimeters cables, and already 1 meter is on my current WIP top. So that was really nice, but it was a little bit tangly, and I understood that the longer cable, that I'm not the biggest fan of the drops interchangeable needle cables. But yeah, in a way, those sometimes, it is not that big of problem for me that I usually too lazy to use that sticky thing, not sticky thing, that pointy thing. You should, you know, secure the edges. For me, I'm just always, you know, checking in if though they didn't unscrew, and for me it's not that difficult to secure it every once in a while, but it is not maybe the best thing. So I don't know, maybe I don't buy the best needle sets, but I really wanted to buy. Okay, I didn't have, my biggest needle size was 5 millimeters, and when I was knitting for my boyfriend's sweater, it was, I think, specified that I should use 6 millimeter needles, and I was panicking. I don't have 6 millimeter needles, but apparently I got the gauge with a smaller needle size, and it was different yarn, so different needle sizes felt, you know, logical. But I bought, you know, 6 millimeter needles in the future if I want to. And I prefer metal ones, but for traveling I decided it is way easier to travel with wooden needles, so I bought the needle sizes I didn't had in wood. So I had in wood, because that first time when I was buying, some sizes were not on stock of metal ones, some sizes were not on stock of wooden ones, so I bought, I think, 3, 4 and 5 millimeter needles in metal, and 3.5, 4.5 millimeter needles in wood. So now I bought 3, 4 and 5 in wood too, so if I have a knitting project I can try to take it to the airport. I was flying recently with my knitting, and I took in metal 3 millimeter needles, so I didn't have wooden ones, so I took the metal ones. And in Norway it's not a problem. Once I asked them, I sent to Norwegian Airlines, you know, can I take knitting needles in the airplane, and they said yeah, sure. So I even have this message, so that when I was traveling I was prepared to show this message that you know, they said that it is allowed. And I sent the same question in Lithuanian airport when I was visiting my family, so you know, I would need to go back through Lithuanian airport security too when going back to Norway, and they said no, needles are not allowed. So apparently, if I want to fly in Lithuania and probably don't have that much problem in the airport, I probably will use wooden ones, because against wood you can put into the pencil case, I think, next to the pencils, and nobody cares about the wood that much. As for the metallic ones, I think. The next thing I bought, as I said, I was thinking about now crocheting or knitting a small teddy bear. So I bought some eyes. From the web shop I was buying, it was not so many options I could choose. So these were the only ones I could choose. There's just dark, the black ones without any surrounding like blue or brown, which was sad. And since I was buying already some things and it was a discount, I think I bought just because it was discount, I decided to buy some yarn for future project too. It was both of these yarns I got with 51 and 52% of discount. So I bought some Viking Garn Alpaca Fine, which is, I think, just alpaca. No, okay. So this is 85% alpaca wool and 50% Highland wool. Just, I don't know what is Highland wool, but apparently it's mostly alpaca. And I bought tin from Dale Garn, a tin kid silk Earl, which is 53% kid mohair, 34% silk and 30% wool. I bought both of these yarns around 1,200 meters, just because I wanted to make sure that I have enough for the sweater. I bought them in off-white color, because I didn't want a snowy white. I don't think that it may not match me as well, but I love wearing white sweaters, and I understood that if I want to knit what I love, I think I should buy. And I never knitted with mohair, so it would be really nice to have, you know, this first project. I think it will be so lovely. One of the inspirations, I'm not saying for this yarn, but overall for white sweater, is, I think, Colibri Designs, and non Colibri by Joanna, or how she's called. I will I don't know, add maybe Instagram pictures of hers. She had, for her wedding, she knitted a really wonderful white sweater with a huge bow in the back. But I cannot knit that sweater because I always wear a bra, and I never would feel comfortable with wearing a sweater without a bra. So having that open back, it wouldn't be practical for me. So even if I love it for, you know, I would knit it for my friend if one of my friends would want it. So that was, yeah. And at once I think she posted that, oh, I've knitted so many, you know, white fluffy sweaters, and she's feeling like she's in mood now for them. And I was feeling, yes, I want them too in my life. And another inspiration is one of the I know people, creators I follow on Instagram, recently released Winter Waves cardigan. And the again picture was in the white yarn. I think it requires maybe 3 strands of yarn, and now I'm too lazy. I just wanna, it's enough for me for my first mohair sweater, just to try to combine mohair with another yarn. I bought them in quite you know, slow gauge, because somehow I quite enjoy knitting in small gauges, or I don't know, still I don't know which needle size I will need to use it. But I think it will be really lovely combination, and I really want a white fluffy sweater. As I said, this will be my first mohair sweater, and immediately I bought what I thought hopefully middle range mohair, because I heard that I think Hobby's Diablo yarn is not good. I think Bethany from Well Up Knits recently mentioned that one of her first sweaters has this yarn, and it is, I think it's shedding, it's scratchy. And I thought that about mohair, a lot of people again is mentioning that it is shedding, that sometimes it can be scratchy, so I decided not to buy the maybe cheapest one. But since it was 25, no, not, it was 51 or 2% of discount for this yarn, I decided, yes, I want to try it on. And this, I tried to knit something with mohair, and I think white fluffy sweater will be one of my dreams. So yeah, this is yarn I should fit into my yarn box. But yeah, since I mentioned that one of my next knits I mentioned that one of the next knits I want to knit is either cardigan, and I bought this yarn for my cardigan. So I think I'm taking this to my, you know, like project box, or to have it closer, to be more inspired by it, I think. And then, so maybe take it off, like my next project. And maybe I will put these again after I put the yarn again. Oops. And I was thinking maybe to start knitting a hat, and I bought this before Viking yarn reflex yarn for a hat, and this is Viking yarn bamboo to knit if it is too scratchy, and I don't love scratchy hats, and my boyfriend will not like scratchy hats, because I bought 3 hats for me, my boyfriend and my brother. And my boyfriend by the end of the winter lost his hat, forgot his hat in the bus, so he needs a hat. So the plan is to knit something. So this yarn I bought, it's a little bit, feels really different gray, even if both colors are light gray. It's so different. This, you know, this is really beautiful yarn, I think. So yeah, my plan is, so maybe I am taking to try to knit my first hat. I'm taking off maybe yarn for my cardigan. And what is interesting, I bought this Jobs Cotton Merino, and it is superwash yarn. I don't know if I notice or not. I don't care for my clothes, as I mentioned. I can wash them with my hands. So I wasn't that much into superwash, but I was into the cotton merino. You know, this is something, you know, I can layer maybe in summertime too, if it is not too hot, because of course black yarn is not good for really hot days, but in Norway we don't have that many hot days. So yeah, I bought this yarn to knit a cardigan for myself, and I don't know even if I noticed that it is superwash, but after 3 or 4 months I got an email for this yarn that it was a faulty batch, so I should check my batch number. And when I checked it, actually it is in dye lot 1066, and it was bad dye lot. So apparently this yarn is not superwash enough. So if I would put it in washing machine, that mostly would ruin my knit. I was lucky. I didn't manage to knit on time to ruin something, and I'm not putting into the washing machine. So I got my money back, and I have yarn, so I feel free yarn. Can I get all the yarn from that batch? I don't care about superwash. So yeah, and this is the yarn I was talking. I'm so excited to create myself accessories. I have a scarf in really similar color. I was not using that scarf for a long time because it was so beautiful. I was not wanted to like wear it off or make it bubbly, you know, I'm not beautiful. But I really want to make maybe a, and then by accident I understood that this yarn matches that scarf, and instead of having this scarf, having like headband maybe and smaller scarf from this yarn. It's so happy color. I want this one in my life in the future. But yeah, when I bought this yarn I didn't know what I'm doing with it, but I love it now and I want. Is it soft enough? I'm hopeful it is 100% alpaca, because it doesn't feel, maybe I can wear it, hopefully. But yeah, this is in the future, maybe more winter. But yeah, let's put my white fluffiness. But yeah, I'm happy to see this white color. This just brings me joy. I'm excited to do something from it in the future. But as I mentioned, what I see in my nearest future, I will cast either a hat or a cardigan for myself. Both of these things I am going to improvise. So yeah, this is leftover yarn from my boyfriend's sweater, and actually it was quite a good, guesstimation how much yarn I will need, because they wrote it was around, I think, 6 balls of drops air, and Drops Air was twice as long, and this yarn, Drops Big Merino. So I bought this Drops Big Merino. Maybe I was supposed to buy maybe 12 balls, but then I decided to add one more extra ball because I was too afraid of running out of the yarn, so I decided to have this comfort. So I have 2 balls left and a little bit more. I was thinking maybe in the future try to knit like some baby knit, or that would be also be a good hat because it's not scratch at all, but it is, I think it's too big to combine with this yarn. But yeah, so this may become something in the future, and it can be in this box, not box, a bag. This bag is not, I know, air proofed, because I think I poked it with the needle. In this bag I bought this summer yarn, so it was packed with 4 balls in this one. It was quite nice. So then, yes, look! My yarn fits into my box. Everything fits into my box, except my current projects. So yeah, this is how I cheat my system now. So that's it, what I have to show you today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!